Hi Verbling, my name's Michaela. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and today we're talking about phrasal verbs. And Andre, welcome to class.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Andre. It is afternoon for you, right?
It is evening.
Oh man. Okay. Well then good evening to you.
Uh,
For
for
me it's
you,
still morning.
it is morning. So good morning.
Thanks. All right. So we're talking about phrasal verbs today, and we'll start by coming up with a short list of some phrasal verbs you can think of with base verbs that I provide. So, can you think of any phrasal verbs that use the verb take as their base?
Take off clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, take away some food.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, take up doing something. Take up learning language.
Take up. Yes, definitely. That's an awesome start. And Umberto, welcome to class.
Thank you, teacher.
Good to have you with us, Umberto. Right now, we're coming up with phrasal verbs that use the verb take as their base. And Andre already gave us take off, take away, and take up. Do you have anything else to add to this list before we move on to a different verb?
No, I don't think so.
All right, then you get to try a new one. Can you think of any phrasal verbs that use get?
Get off,
Mm-hmm.
get get on. Does it exist?
Okay. Mm-hmm. Could be. Excellent. Andre, can you add anything to that list of get?
Uh, get in a car.
Sure.
Get away.
Good one.
Uh, get up in the morning.
And up. Awesome. And Fernando, welcome to class.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine.
Excellent. We just came up with a few phrasal verbs with get off, get on, get in, get away, get up. Can you think of any others with get, or should we move on to the next one?
I don't remember with get.
Let's try the verb make. Can you remember any phrasal verbs that use make as their base?
Make up.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, make it.
Make what?
Make it.
Make it?
Yes.
So that's a good phrase, but it's not a phrasal verb
Okay.
because a
Okay.
phrasal verb uses either a preposition or an adverb in most cases.
Okay. Make out.
Ooh, good one. Okay, let's come up with a couple for this and then we'll move on. Umberto, can you think of any other make phrasal verbs?
No, teacher. Sorry, I can't remember.
No problem, they're hard to think of. Andre, anything else you want to add to our make, take, or get before we move on?
I can't recall anymore.
Okay, good. We made an excellent list that I'm going to put in the chat box for you guys, and we might be using this later. And we've already gotten a good sense for how complex these phrasal verbs are because we can combine these normal, regular verbs with so many prepositions and adverbs to make totally new meanings. And even each of these verbs that we've come up with has more than one meaning. So not only can we make one verb totally different by adding on different prepositions, but each verb plus preposition might have 2, 3, or more meanings. So it's really complex, which is why it's Excellent that you guys came today to study and continue your studies on this. Nestor, welcome to class. Nestor, you're muted. There should be buttons at the top of your screen here, and I think maybe this one is the unmute button. Your mute button will be red right now since you're muted.
Okay, hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Excellent. I think this is the first time I've had you in class, right, Nestor?
Yes, in your class? Yes, okay.
It's nice to meet you. Where are you from?
From Spain.
Cool. Well, today we're talking about phrasal verbs. Can you think of any phrasal verbs before I move on to our notes today? Do you know what a phrasal verb is, Nestor?
No, I don't know.
All right, then we're going to find out more today. In a second, we're going to read a short story that has lots of phrasal verbs in it. And before we get started, let's just do a review. Andre, can you tell me a little bit about what a phrasal verb is and how we use them?
Phrasal verb is formed from a verb and preposition, and it means to describe an action.
So each phrasal verb has at least two words. One is a normal verb, and then the next would be a preposition or an adverb, and there could be more than one. So it's pretty flexible there. Fernando, is there anything else you want to add about what a phrasal verb is or how we use them?
I think that the phrasal, you can separate the phrasal verb. You can say, for example, pick someone up, and the phrasal verb is pick up.
Yes, that is really complex. We won't be talking so much about that today, but it's good to know because some phrasal verbs, you can separate the two parts, the verb and the participle, or the particle,
Yes.
and sometimes you can't. So that's an important detail to know before you try to use them. Umberto, is there anything else you would like to add about what a phrasal verb is before we move over to our notes and start to see them in context?
No, teacher.
Okay. So I'm going to screen share the notes that I also put in the chat box. You can click the link and open your own copy or follow along with me. We have a short story here, and all of the sections are defined by color. So I'm going to ask each of you to read a section and then go back and identify some of the main phrasal verbs you saw used in each section. So we'll talk a little bit about how they're used or definitions as we come across them. And Andre, will you do us a favor and read the red section and then go back and point out some of the phrasal verbs you saw?
Well, I was brought up in a small town in the countryside. Growing up in the countryside offered a lot of advantages for young people. The only problem was that we often got into trouble as we made up stories that we act out around town.
Excellent. So what are some of the most important phrasal verbs you saw used in that red section?
Bring up,
Mm-hmm.
grow up,
Mm-hmm.
and got into,
Mm-hmm.
make up,
Yep.
and act out.
Yes. Excellent identification of these phrasal verbs. I'm going to highlight them. That way we can go back and talk about them a little more if we need to, or if anyone has a question about the definition. Thank you very much for identifying those. And let's go on to the green section to get some more. Fernando, will you read the green section and then point out some of the most important phrasal verbs for us?
Yes. Yes. I can remember one adventure in particular. One day, as we were coming back from school, we came up with the brilliant idea to make out that we were pirates looking for a treasure. My best friend Tom said that he made out an enemy ship in the distance. The phrasal verbs are come back, came up, make out,
Yep.
make out. Looking for is a phrasal verb?
Yeah, well, that can work. Some of these are difficult to identify because we'll highlight this one just in case. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between a normal verb plus a preposition and a phrasal verb. But
Yeah.
we'll keep these together and say that it's a phrasal verb because they're frequently seen together looking for blank thing, kind of like a synonym to searching, maybe. So I think that's a phrasal verb.
Made up, made out.
Yep. I think you got them all. Great job.
Yes.
Thanks, Fernando. Umberto, you get the orange section. It's a little bit longer. Good luck.
We all ran for cover and picked up a number of rocks to use for ammunition against the ship as we got ready to put together our plan of action. We were ready to set off on our attack. We slowly went along the path until we were face to face with our enemy, the postman's truck. The postman was dropping off a package at Mrs. Brown's house, so we got into his truck.
Excellent.
Let me see. Pick it up.
Uh-huh.
Set off.
Yes, definitely. Set off. Good one. All right.
Drop off.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all.
Okay, so that was most of them, but this is a pretty long section and there's one or two we left out. Do you guys see any other hidden phrasal verbs in this section?
Get into.
Uh-huh, get into works. Any others?
Wait.
Get ready. Oh no, this no.
I don't think that one's kind of bordering that line of whether it's just a verb plus an adverb or if it's a phrasal verb, but we can highlight that.
Get into.
Yes, get
It's
into.
in the last one line.
Thanks. I know, I was like, oh yeah, that's one, but then I couldn't find it again. There we are. So there's still one more that I see. Maybe even more than that.
Get ready? No.
Maybe.
Went along.
I know. Put together.
Yes, I think that was the most obvious one for me. There are still a couple others, like this went along the path, but ones like this, like we said, that's kind of more like a normal verb plus a preposition versus a different definition for a phrasal verb. But put together is definitely a phrasal verb. So I think we got all the most important phrasal verbs from this section. And let's go to the black section. And this time it's Nestor's turn to read. And Nestor, after that, if you're ready, try to identify some phrasal verbs. But if you're not totally sure, we'll help you out and give you a couple hints as to what the phrasal verbs are in that section.
Okay. At that point, we really didn't have any idea about what we were going to do next. The radio was playing, so we turned down the volume to discuss what we would do next. Jack was all for switching on the motor and getting away with the stolen mail. Of course, we were just children, but the idea of actually making off with a truck was too much for us to believe. Turn down?
Uh-huh.
Get away?
Mm-hmm.
Making off? Make off?
Yep.
I think it's solved.
That was most of them. I see one more that I think counts for a phrasal verb. Well, yeah,
Switch
I think
on.
it counts. Huh?
Switch on.
Yeah, that one. Exactly. And I think those are all the most important ones. Do you guys see any others? I think we got them. All right, we just have one more section. Then we're back to the beginning. So Andre, will you read the purple section for us and identify the phrasal verbs there?
We all broke out in nervous laughter at the thought of us driving down the road in this stolen postal truck. Luckily for us, the postman came running towards us, shouting, "What are you kids up to?" Of course, we all got out of the truck as quickly as we could and took off down the road. Break out.
Mm-hmm.
Drive down.
Mm-hmm.
Up to be up to.
Mm-hmm.
What are you kids up to?
Mm-hmm.
Got out.
Yep.
Take off.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think we highlighted all of the most important phrasal verbs here. And look how many there are. There's tons, tons. We use these phrasal verbs all the time. So you guys probably are familiar with many of these, but might not be familiar with all of them. Let's talk about any of the ones you guys have questions on. Are there any here that you guys don't totally understand or would like to go over the definition of a little more in depth?
Yes, set off.
Set off. Awesome. That one's over here. So the sentence is, we were ready to set off on our attack. Can anyone come up with a synonym to set off that we could replace here?
To start. To go. To start the journey.
To start, to go. Those are good ones. So to set off on our attack would be the same as to start or begin maybe our attack.
To start a journey.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's start in the sense of physically going somewhere. Let's use that one in a sentence. Can anyone come up with another example sentence using set off?
I am going to set off to the store.
Okay, you can say I'm going to set off to the store. Sure. Or we're setting off on our vacation now. We're setting off on a hike. But we can't use set off in the sense of, in the metaphorical sense of, say, starting the day, you know? So I would not be able to say, I set off my day, or I set off my week, because that's not a physical sense of like going somewhere. That's more metaphorical. So we can't use it in the metaphorical sense, but we can use it in the sense of physically starting a journey, a path, a hike, a trip, any of those things. Okay, let's talk about another one. Any other suggestions from you guys on ones you'd like to go over with a little more clarity? So you guys feel pretty comfortable with all of these phrasal verbs?
Can you scroll up a bit?
Uh-huh. We've got brought up, grow up, get into, make up, act out, come back, come up, make out.
I don't clearly understand the meaning of sentence. So we often got into trouble as we made up stories that we act out around town. What does made up mean in this context?
I'm glad you brought that up because there's multiple meanings for make up, and sometimes make up means to actually create something, like make up a batch of cookies, make up a cake. We could use it for creation. But here it's kind of like invent. So we invented stories.
We invented stories that we, in this case, act out. With which verb I can replace it?
Act out would be a similar thing to perform. So they performed the stories. Like they would think up some crazy dream, like there was a castle and a princess, and then they would go out and perform these stories. So they would make it real for them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I understand.
Excellent question. And while we're talking about this, let's talk a little bit more about make out. Because we see the phrasal verb make out 2 times in this story, but it does not have the same meaning. So we use 2 different meanings of this same set for phrasal verbs. The first one we see is highlighted on the screen. We came up with the brilliant idea to make out that we were pirates. And the next time we see it, it says he made out an enemy ship. So let's come up with a synonym for the first one.
The first one may be figure or imagine.
Yeah, imagine is a good synonym. So they came up with the brilliant idea to imagine that they were pirates.
Or to pretend.
Yes, exactly. Pretend would be an excellent one as well. Pretend they were pirates. What about the second make out? It says Tom said that he made out an enemy ship.
Oh, he said like he see a ship in the distance.
Yes.
But there wasn't any ship.
That's true, there wasn't any ship, but we're not totally sure. They don't give us that idea from the way it's written. We know that there was no enemy ship because that's clear. They're kids, they're pretending, but we don't know that. But the phrase made out does mean to see something in the distance or to see something that's difficult to understand. Or, for instance, you could say, his signature is so bad, I can hardly make it out. So a person has very bad handwriting and you cannot read what they wrote. You can also use the verb make out in a similar way. Here we're talking about making out an enemy ship, something that's hard to see and far away. And making out a signature would be trying to understand something that's difficult to see. You can't see what's really there. It's difficult to see.
So we can say Tom said that he noticed an enemy ship in the distance.
Yes, that's a pretty good synonym. All right. Any other questions on these phrasal verbs? We're about to do an exercise where you guys are going to need to use a lot, so hopefully you understand them pretty well. And definitely ask any questions about the ones you're not sure if you understand yet. No more questions on these? All right. Then we're going to make our own story. And I'm going to let you guys choose. We can either each make 2 sentences saying something about our childhood, like, for instance, the story we just read was a story of childhood. So you guys can either write 2 sentences about a story of childhood, or we can make 2 sentences from each person to make one combined story. Does anyone prefer one or the other?
I like idea with combined one.
Okay, good. That's how I originally imagined this, but sometimes the stories we get are not totally, they don't totally make sense, which is okay. It's okay. So let's start with Nestor. Nestor, give us 2 sentences that include at least 2 phrasal verbs. So each sentence has to have at least 1 phrasal verb. And you're going to start our story. So try to make it something that the other students will be able to continue in a little bit.
I don't know. Only 2 sentences.
Yep, only 2 sentences.
For example, please put my food to take away.
Please put my food to take away.
It's okay.
What do you mean by that? You said, please put my food to take away. Like this? Is that what you meant?
Take away is a phrasal verb, no?
Yeah, take away as in the food you get from a restaurant, right?
Okay.
Take away is a little bit more of a British expression, but it works just as well. You can say it's for takeout. So maybe we can say, I want takeaway food. And you need one more sentence.
I would like this present to buy for my mom.
All right, another good sentence. So now we have the start of a story, not a really cohesive story. I would like present to buy for my mom. And the next person, Umberto, I'm going to ask you to choose one of his sentences and continue a story with it. So try to add on to the sentences that he has already made. For instance, you could use his, please put my food in a takeaway container, and then continue that story to what the person is doing after.
What like a present to buy? Like a present to buy? I'd like the first phrase. the first. Please put away my food. Please put my food in a takeaway container. I'd like to set off on my dinner later.
Okay. I like that sentence. You said set off, right?
Yes.
Okay. So set off is really good in this context, but we have to change things around a little bit because do you remember how I said that set off is good for hiking, walking, journeys, trips, vacations, but it's not necessarily good in the metaphorical or figurative sense. So why don't we say, I'd like to set off on my journey home before I eat dinner. That way we have set off being used with the appropriate object like journey or trip, and we include the idea of dinner. Awesome ideas. Thanks, Umberto. Do you think, Umberto, you could get us one more sentence to add to our story?
Let me think.
I know you guys are on the spot. We've got phrasal verbs here to choose from.
I would like a present to buy for my mom. She was brought up today.
Okay.
Today. And
It was
today.
brought up today.
At the date. At the date.
Oh, I see. She was born today. Interesting. So you're trying to say it's her birthday, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So why don't we say she was brought up in this town and born today, or born on this day 45 years ago.
Right.
All right, so that changes our sentence, reorganizes it a little bit. That way we have brought up in the sense of a period of raising. So brought up is kind of like childhood, or when you're maturing into an adult. So she was brought up in this town and born this day 45 years ago. All right. Thanks, Umberto. Fernando, you're up next, and now we have two stories going. So the first story is about the takeaway. Please put my food in a takeaway, and then I'd like to set off on my journey before I eat dinner. Can you come up with another sentence to continue that story? Oh, ooh, we just got another one. Ah, got it. Thanks, Andrew, for the recap of our stories. That's helpful to have that in the chat box. Fernando, give us one more sentence for each of the stories.
Okay. I would like to set off my journey before journey home or dinner. Oh, okay. I'd like to set off my journey home before I eat dinner, and after I eat dinner, I'm going to pick my girlfriend up.
All right. Pick up, that's a good one.
In my car.
To pick my good friend up in my car. Okay, so far, I'm going to read the whole story and then we'll continue. And Fernando, you'll give me one more sentence. So our whole story so far is, I'd like to set off on my journey home before I eat dinner. Please put my food in a takeaway container. I would like to present my mom with it. She was brought up in this town and born on this day 45 years ago and never tried out such food. Yes, I love that beginning. And then we have, after dinner, I'm going to pick my good friend up in my car. And Fernando, can you give us one more sentence with the phrasal verb continuing this story about a man and his mother and a friend?
When I'm coming to home, I will get into a store to buy flowers for mom.
Okay. When I come home, I will what?
Get into a store to buy flowers for my mom.
Okay. I'm going to change get into to go into. Makes a little more sense that way. But other than that, it's awesome. Great story so far, guys. And Andrew, you're next up. Give us two sentences to wrap up our story.
The story turned out complicated a bit.
Yes, it did. This has happened to me before, and I don't know. It's kind of tough for us all to make a story together. So it turns out funny, though. I think I like it because it's kind of, it ends up being funny.
Yes, fun. Okay, when I come home, I will go into a store to buy flowers for my mom. Oh, okay. Uh, I am stuck.
All right, let's see if we can pick a phrasal verb for you to use. How about, so far we've been talking about how this person
Okay,
is going to,
I think I figured out. So when I come home, I will go into a store to buy some flowers for my mom. Then I accidentally drop them off and will make up a story that they were stolen.
Okay, so it turned out, you said, then I drop them off and I will make up a story that they were stolen?
Yes, then it is ridiculous, but let it be. Then I will drop them off and make up a story that they were stolen.
Ah, okay, playing a joke on your mom, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Do you think you got one more sentence in you, or is that a good ending for our story today? You did make two phrasal verbs, so I think that's good enough.
I hope she will break out in nervous laughter.
Okay, excellent. Nervous laughter. Awesome story, guys. I appreciate the effort, and you guys should scrapbook it. Something to be proud of. We're done. Now we have a couple fill-in-the-blank exercises. And the first one, they provide the context of a sentence plus the actual verb. So the only thing you guys have to add is the correct preposition to complete the phrase. So we'll do the first one together, and then I'll ask you guys to do your best and try some of the other ones. Number one, I was so scared when the plane took blank. It was my first flight.
Off.
Yes, off. The best preposition there is off. All right. Number 2. Let's start with Nestor. Can you read number 2 and then try to guess what preposition goes there? And if you don't get it, then we'll help you out.
Don't throw. I don't know.
Go ahead and complete the sentence without filling in the blank first. That way you get the benefit of having all the context.
Throw down?
Maybe. Finish reading the sentence and then we'll go back and try to fill in the blank.
Use cans and paper. We can recycle them.
So what do you do with trash?
Throw
it.
Throw away. Or
Yeah.
throw down. I don't know. Throw away.
Yes, there's 2 possibilities here. You can say don't throw away those cans and paper or don't throw out those cans and paper. They mean pretty much the same thing. In fact, they mean exactly the same thing. But I think throw away probably is more common in the UK and throw out is more common here, or the opposite. Anyways, they mean the same thing. Okay, number 3. Umberto, will you read the whole sentence and then go back to fill in the blank?
Please speak black so that your classmates at the back can hear you. Speak up, could be. Speak up.
Yeah, speak up. Excellent. Fernando, number 4.
The price of the oil have gone up 3 times this year. I don't think they'll ever come down.
Thanks, Fernando. Andre, try number 5.
Okay. Then dietitians. Is that correct?
Dietitians.
Dietitian told mom to cut down or off.
Down is right. And what's the second one there?
Cut out. It doesn't fit, I think.
Cut out works, but it doesn't fit because you're right. We have 2 blanks. But what about the first one you said? Cut down blank fat.
Okay. I didn't see the line. The dietitians told mom to cut down on fat.
Yes, exactly. Since we've got 2 spaces there, we would say cut down on fat. Great idea. Thanks, Andre. And Kevin, welcome to class.
Hi, teacher. Sorry I'm late.
No problem. You came at a good exercise to jump in. Would you try number 6 for us? Read the whole sentence and then see if you can decide which preposition comes in the blank.
When Matthew's parents died, he came with...
Almost. This one is like to inherit. So the synonym to this is to inherit. And it is a 4-letter preposition. Anyone have an idea here? What's the best preposition to fit here?
Into.
4 letters. Yes, into. He came into a big fortune, meaning he inherited a big fortune. All right. Nestor, go ahead and try number 7.
If you don't know a word, please look it blank in a dictionary.
What was that?
For in a dictionary.
4? Not quite 4. It's a 2-letter preposition, Nestor.
Look up.
Yeah, look up. Maybe, I hope that's what you said. You might have been at. But anyways, even if it wasn't, we'll go on. So if you don't know a word in the dictionary, please look it up. Dictionary.
Teacher,
Huh?
what's the difference between look up and look for? Or look for doesn't exist?
Look for exists. In fact, we saw it in the story that we read earlier. Look for would be something like search. The only problem, because you could say look for the word in a dictionary, but the problem here is that look for is not separable and look up is separable. So in number 7, if we said look it up, we have those two words separated by it, but we cannot say look it for. We would have to say look for it in a dictionary.
Okay.
So for would be a good completion if that it wasn't there.
Thank you. I
So
got
there's
it. Got it.
good, good. Very similar definitions though. Okay, let's try number 8, and it's Umberto's turn.
Try these pants. I think they're your size. Try these pants on.
Yep. Another separable phrasal verb. Thanks, Umberto. Fernando, try number 9.
When Brahim was pulled over for spending, he tried to pay the police officer. Pay back?
Not quite. Payback would be like revenge. It is a phrasal verb that exists, but here he's not looking for revenge. He wants to not have a ticket, right? So the person might offer the police officer money, like a bribe. Does anyone know how we might phrase that into a phrasal verb?
To pay the police officer off.
Yes, off. Pay the police officer off. Excellent. And Andre, number 10.
In 1666, the Great Fire burned out
Not quite. Try again.
90%. Burned down.
Yes, burned down is the best completion here. All right. Any questions from this section before we go on to one more similar exercise? Okay. So the next exercise is similar, but instead of using the verb to decide what the preposition is, it's going to be the opposite. We get the preposition and we have to decide which verb is appropriate here. Starting with number 1. It's Nestor's turn.
She's going to move to a quieter neighborhood. She can't blank up with the noise and garage anymore. I don't know.
Anyone else have an idea?
Go up with.
Not quite. Not go. It's
How
a
many letters?
3-letter
3.
verb.
Hang up.
Nope, not hang.
3 letters?
3 letters. Starts with a P.
Put up.
Yeah. She can't put up with the noise and garbage anymore. So she can't stand it. She can't put up with it. She wants to get out. Awesome. Umberto, will you try number 2 for us?
Let's up the tent first. We'll cook lunch later. Pick up. Pick up.
Not quite.
Make up.
Almost, almost. Make up is okay, but there's still one that's better. It's a 3-letter verb.
Set up.
Huh?
Set up?
Put up actually does work. That's a funny one. Put up works. You can say, let's put up the tent first. Very common expression. Another one that would have a very similar meaning, which is the one I had in mind, was set up.
It is what I said.
Wait, what? You said set up?
Yes.
Excellent. I saw someone put in the chat box, and I thought you said that as well. But both of those are great. Put up or set up the tent. Awesome. Fernando, try number 3 out.
I usually get up at 6 o'clock in the mornings.
Awesome. That one was pretty good. Andre, go for it.
They sold their bike for 300 DH. I don't know what it is. Only they just wanted to get rid of it.
Excellent. Yes. So
What
this
is
is
DH?
Oh, it's a currency. I think it's like denarii or I don't know. It's a currency that comes from I think Asia maybe. Really not totally sure. But this one is a good one, I think, because rid is not actually a preposition, it's an adverb. So this is one of those few occasions when we use an adverb as one of the particles. I just wanted to point that out because usually people just assume that they're always prepositions, but they don't always have to be prepositions. We do have some examples of using adverbs in the same spot. Number 5, back to Nestor.
Many country girls go out of at an early age.
Okay. I think this one I've done before, and I think actually we would have to delete the of. I don't think the of works there. Yeah. So I think go out at an early age would be okay. What other ones could we fit here? Here we have a lot of possibilities.
Maybe leave.
Leave out?
Yes.
Not quite. Leave out usually has the meaning of exclude. So I might leave you out of my party planning or leave you out of. So it's a little bit odd to say many country girls are excluded at an early age. I mean, maybe it's true, but it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
All right, go out works just as well as others. Thanks a lot.
Move out. Move out.
Move out. Move out, I think, is one that works really well also. We've got a couple options there. Flexible stuff. All right, number 6, Umberto.
Please.
What do you do with coffee?
Pay. Drink up your coffee.
Yes, drink up your coffee. And pay up actually is a phrasal verb as well. It doesn't usually take an object though. So if you were going to use pay up, you probably would not put the object your coffee at the end, but it is a phrasal verb. So excellent ideas there. Fernando, go ahead and do the next one.
Okay, I hope the Israelis, Palestinians will soon take out their differences.
Not quite. Any other ideas here?
Cut out.
Okay. Cut out was pretty good. I think there's a better one. It's 4 letters, starts with a W.
Work out.
Yes, I think workout is the best. All right, so the time has flown, and unfortunately, we've already hit our time for the hour. I have another class starting right now about reduction, and it's kind of like a pronunciation class. So if you guys are interested, then I will see you there. And if not, then good luck to you guys. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again in another time.
Thank you, Michael. See
Thanks,
you.
guys. Bye.
Bye.